Alright, so we just did the lariat around the neck and worked on him yielding off the hindquarters and walking, kind of following up to me with that around the neck. Now I want to be able to go around the cinch and the flank with the same rope, again, without hurting him, but that's where I'm going to be putting that saddle and cinching him up. If I can get him kind of used to that and make sure he's not too bucky about it ahead of time, this kind of makes life a little easier. So to make this transition, you just make this loop nice and big. And we'll see if he'll walk through it without walking all the way through it. Sometimes you can put it, there we go. You can have him back into it. You can have him just walk forward through it. Depends on the horse and what stage he's kind of at. Things are blowing around here, so he's a little jumpy, and that's all right. So what I want you want to be able to do this just kind of like a, I can move over here a little bit, just like a choke collar on a dog. You want to make sure when this is around, this is going to always loosen when you release it. So the top of your rope, the part that's in your hand that goes over top of him, should be on the top of your Honda there. It should just, you want to be able to, when you drop it, it releases. You don't want it to stay tight, because if he gets in trouble, you want to be able to let that go. And what I'm going to do first, sometimes I do this, I don't think he's going to be too bad about it, but what I'll sometimes do, just to kind of help him out a little bit, is I'll put this also around his neck so that it doesn't slide too far back to start. Because sometimes if it slides too far back to start, then you got a rodeo before you even get started. So I'm going to send him off. And again, just let him kind of carry that around him for a minute. And you always want to make sure too that your coils are pretty, straight. You'll see me messing with my coils a lot, because if my coils get too tangled and he takes off, I lose my finger. So get good at handling your rope. Obviously I'm not the best roper in town by any way, shape, or form, but once it's kind of on the horse, I'm all right. Just gonna ask him to move off. So I'm gonna start putting a little bit of pressure on this and making sure he's not too bronky about it. Because again, sometimes if they get too excited about it too soon, they'll start kicking. I mean, these hind feet will be up over top of that rail, and then that rope gets up underneath their flank, and so when you're starting this, it's all right. You can put a little loop around his neck there just so it doesn't slide back too soon. It doesn't get too tight too soon if you're kind of practicing and learning. And again, always make sure that you stay safe and your horse stays safe. Just going to pick up on that a little bit. He actually is okay with that. Good. So since he's not too bad with that, I'm going to walk up to him, try and get him not to leave. I'm kind of careful with this rope here still. And eventually he's going to learn about putting his head down all the time, no matter what. I'm going to make sure this is up kind of high. Get this kind of underneath him so I can pick up on it. I'm going to send him off. I'm going to walk out. And all this stuff you do from both sides. For the video's sake, we're only doing one side. But I'll do this on both sides of him. And I'm just going to pick that up like I'm cinching. If he wants to stop, that's okay, because eventually we're going to be yielding him anyway, and I want him to stand still for saddling. But I'll pick up on that and release, pick up on that and release, pick up on that and release, pick up on that and release. I'll get a little careless with it, just to make sure he's all right with it. Now I'm going to try and let it loose here a little bit and let it slide back there into his flank area. Now I'm not going to cut him. This is not the time, he keeps looking at my flag. This is not the time to yank it up there. If I want to make him buck, I can make him buck right now. That's not the thing. I want him to be okay with things like this back here. I want him to learn, to teach, to understand that it's okay. That he can kind of feel that. He's going to be wearing a Western saddle. When he's racing, obviously he won't be. But, I mean, I've seen the cinch hobbles come undone. The next thing you know, that back cinch is up underneath that flank where you teach the horses to buck. And you got yourself a bucking horse. I want it okay. And I've seen people, things happen, ropes fall down, get underneath, something could slip underneath there, anything. I just want him okay. And he is a gelding. Or not a gelding, he's a stallion. But either way, gelding stallion, you're going to have to clean his sheath and do all that kind of good stuff. So right now, I'm touching him back there where I'm going to need to be able touching him eventually. Except I'm touching him from 20 feet away. If he wants to kick at this, he can kick all day at it. And it won't bother me at all. Get him used to being touched back there. Some of them get really touchy in that ticklish spot. You want him good. And who knows, he might go to kids someday that wants to ride double. And that partner of that kids, you know, all the little kids who lined up on the back of the horse, you know, their feet are going to be hanging there. And their little feet are going to be tickling him in that ticklish spot. I want to make sure he's okay. You just think of everything that you can possibly think of and things that you couldn't even imagine somebody would do with their horse. And we take care of it right now. Take care of it ahead of time. So if it happens, the guy's okay with it. Okay. And he's actually handling that pretty good. I have, you know, a pound or so pressure on there. I can put 2-3 pounds of pressure on there. And that's pretty good. And he's even stopping, and that's even better. And then what I'm going to do, and you always, as you're walking up, you start coiling your rope. You don't let it get all tangly and stuff. Give him a pet, tell him he was good. I'm going to bring this forward here. Make sure he's okay with stuff in there. Pass my lariat through here. And I'm going to see if I can get this dude to kind of follow the feel from around the cinch. There we go. Because again, I want him to follow the feel from anywhere I go. And if he starts acting crazy, I don't put extra pressure. I don't get excited about it. I definitely do not yell, ho, 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 ho. I mean, people sound like Christmas sometimes. No. Just let them find it. Don't make it any worse. They'll find the answer if you fix it up and just kind of wait for them to find the answer. They'll find it. They're a lot smarter than we kind of give them credit for. There we go. And even though some of this he's kind of following me, he's getting the idea, because every time he takes a step towards me, that pressure releases. There we go. I want him to follow me anywhere. If I have to grab a hold of an ear. There, he's kind of pushing on me, so I'm just going to hold and wait. Hold and wait. Hold and wait. He's backing up. So he's applying that pressure. I'm not going to take it off. I'm going to wait on him. Opposite. There we go. Good job, buddy. When he comes in, I thank him for coming in. If he wants pets, I give him all the pets he could possibly want. Especially when they're young like this and not spoiled. Now, if he was a horse that was constantly trying to bite me or something like that, I'd work all this stuff out first and get some respect going and stuff before I let them too much into my space. Sometimes we'll get them that they're really charging at us and doing all sorts of fun stuff, so then I'm not going to stand here and cuddle my horse. But there we go. Now I'm going to see if I can kind of walk off just a little bit. Let me turn. I'm going to see if he'll kind of stay there a second. Won't put any pressure on. And I'm going to just pick up pressure only and see if he comes off to that, so that I'm sure he's not just entirely always following me. So again, I won't have any pressure on that line. I'm going to stand back just a little bit, and then I'll pick up that pressure. Sometimes people get lulled into thinking that their horse is yielding to the pressure, but all they're doing is the horse is just following them around and not the pressure. He'll do that. But in nature, they push against pressure. They don't give to pressure naturally. So you got to teach them that. So you always want to check that. And you'll see that later when I do like the lateral flexion and stuff. When I eventually put it on the other side. A lot of times horses will be doing lateral flexion absolutely perfect on the side that you're on, because they're coming to you for their pet or whatever. And then you do it on the other side and they have no clue. So you want to make sure that it's actually, that they are actually yielding to that pressure. So again, that's how you kind of look at this. And this is, you know, putting around the cinch, putting around the flank, you know, making sure this is good. And we'll get firmer with it as time goes, but again, we're teaching him, making sure that he's okay and understanding it before we actually do anything too catastrophic. And when I want to let him go, I just make this real big again. Take it over his hindquarters, nice and slow. and I'll let him walk off if he wants. There we go. Good job. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put this rope around his hind foot, but again, we'll put that in another video, and teach him how to yield off of those feet, and I'll talk about that when we get there. Thank you.